Hi guys, Nash here. In this video I want to say a few words about what can we learn from elite bodybuilders. Now I had a similar video in which I spoke about should we train like professional bodybuilders, but in this video I want to highlight some other issues and what can we learn from elite bodybuilders. So as you all know, there are many extremely successful bodybuilders that have obviously been there. I mean, I grew up, for example, with a couple of guys who were obviously most important in my times, and obviously influenced me as a bodybuilder. In a way, shaped me as a bodybuilder, as a person, as a character, if you want. First of all, that was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then it was Haney. So these two guys were actually in that time frame, which was kind of very important for me. We are talking since maybe 80s, early 90s, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was there, and Haney was there, and they have achieved some obviously tremendous results. Both of them Mr. Olympias. Arnold has turned into a superstar, film superstar, and politician later on, etc., etc. But we're talking about them as bodybuilders. So, what can we learn from elite bodybuilders? In what sense? Well, if we look at Arnold, we can see that Arnold has trained for some period of time. He was in an extremely good shape. But then Arnold stopped training almost completely for about 5 years, and then he came back in 1980 to win his last controversial Mr. Olympia. And then again he went off and on, and then he started his film career, and then he was kind of doing a little bit here and there, and then he would appear again in a good shape, sometimes in better shape, sometimes not. Then we have Haney as well. Throughout his career he competed, and he kind of maintained his good shape throughout, and even now he is in good shape. But then on the other side we have bodybuilders who competed, who have great physiques during their prime time, and then they completely dropped the training and nutrition, and they just stopped training, and they have changed dramatically, so they don't even resemble themselves as bodybuilders. So the point that I want to highlight in this video is that actually there is something known as consistency, and I'm questioning is that possible or not? Should people like those guys be consistent? Should they train the same or maybe slightly different? Should they look like bodybuilders for the rest of their lives? Why do some people achieve and succeed in that, and you can see them in their 60s or 70s, in their 50s, and they still look fantastic, maybe not as big as before, but they are still recognizably well built, and obviously they look like a bodybuilder. Well, some other guys, they do not. Now this is the question, what we can learn from elite bodybuilders. Now on the other side we have stories of many professional bodybuilders who have, due to different approaches and attitudes in training, in nutrition, also there are different approach to steroids and other hormones, who have completely crushed, and they don't look like bodybuilders nowadays. People who had tremendous injuries, sometimes even life-threatening injuries, people who are in the wheelchair, and I'm talking about elite bodybuilders, not need to mention names, you know them all, but you can see that some people, due to their different approaches, did not manage to sustain and preserve that look of a bodybuilder simply because of their tremendous injuries they have self-inflicted through their own choices. If somebody gets hit by a car or get a motorbike accident, as I had, but obviously it didn't stop me, this is a different type of injury. But if you injure yourself because you persistently believe that the training system, which is in which ratio between risk and benefit is huge, and you know that you're risking tremendous injuries because of that type of training, that obviously is self-inflicted. Now, should you do that? This is something I want to be talking to you. Now, these guys, as you can see, Arnold achieved everything in bodybuilding. You can't get bigger than Arnold, or Lee Haney. You can't get better than Lee Haney. We are talking on an absolute physical achievement. But these guys were clever enough to train like bodybuilders, not like power lifters. So that's something we have to distinguish. Because some people are dragged into this game just because they want to be the strongest guy in the street, then in the city, then in the country, then maybe in the world. Like, that strength is something very important. Fine. If that is important for you, keep training like that. Keep that risk high and benefits somewhere lower rather. But bodybuilding is not is a completely different game. If you look all these huge names in bodybuilding, Arnold, Franco Colombo, Sergio Oliva, Serge Nubret, Lee Haney, then you have other people, Roy Callender, Ben Aziza, you have Sean Ray, Flex Wheeler, Kevin Lavroni. These people, we are talking about top elite, and all these guys trained with rather medium weights, not necessarily extreme, huge, heavy weights, which will explode your joints and tendons and etc. No, and this is why they never had such dramatic injuries. So we have unfortunately experience on both sides. We have people who've been training for 40 or 50 years, and they still look respectable. They look great in their 50s, 60s, 70s. Some professional bodybuilders, like for example Dexter Jackson, who's 50 years old. He's in top 3 all the time on any professional competition. So he must be doing something right. On the other side, you have people who were in their late 30s or early 40s, already injured so badly that they could not continue with their professional careers. They could not even continue training with some certain level of intensity because they were injured. So what can we learn from elite bodybuilders is that bodybuilding, bottom line, is not powerlifting. So you have to be a little bit more creative. So intensity doesn't mean that you just pile as much weight as you can put on your leg press or on a bar and go for 5, 6, 7 reps. Bodybuilding is something different. Bodybuilding, the hypertrophy of the muscle fibers, especially white muscle fibers, happens on very different level. You don't need those huge weights because you don't need to play with those huge risks. It's not beneficial. As I mentioned, all these names now who managed to achieve phenomenal physiques, they did not use this huge, tremendous amount of weights and to do low reps. They did differently. They used less weight, they did higher reps, and also they did more sets. Yes, it is harder. It's not easier. It's easy to do 5, 6 sets per muscle group. That doesn't take an effort. But try to do 30 sets. Try to do 10 sets of squats or maybe 10 sets of pull-ups for your back. And then talk business to me. And then talk intensity to me. Is that harder, or to do 1 set and put a dumbbell of 50 kgs around your waist and lift yourself 5, 6 times? So maybe to lift yourself 10, 15 times in 10 sets. I've done both, I can tell you. Doing 10 sets of pull-ups, max amount of reps, is 10 times harder. Maybe this is the reason why all these super high intensity gods tend to stick to few sets rather than a little bit more sets. If you came to Arnold in 1970, 72, 3, 4, when he was 5, when he was absolutely amazing when it comes to physical development, and you said to him about 3 or 4 sets or something like that, he would laugh at you. He would laugh at you. Right? And Arnold didn't burst any muscle, any tendon. He never had any injuries like that. He never ended up in a wheelchair. And he's still training. And he's still looking great. So this is to take home. Alright? From this video, you want to learn from elite bodybuilders that there is something called bodybuilding workout and powerlifting workout. And you need to stick more to, for the sake of your safety and your health and your longevity, you should stick rather to the training system which is made of a higher number of reps and a higher number of sets with some relatively medium amount of weight, because don't forget, weight that you use is just a tool, right? It's not how big is the hammer, it's what you're going to do with the hammer. If Michelangelo had a bigger hammer and a chisel, he wouldn't make better statues. Okay, so it's not the size of the tool, it is the skill. How do you use the tool? And by using the tool more skillfully, more scientifically, you will be able to produce much harder and much beneficial and also much safer workouts. So this was my message in this video. And what should we learn from elite bodybuilders? Obviously, safety first, your health first, and everything else after. So you have to, the ratio between the risk and benefit, I would like you to be like this, rather than like that. So increase the benefit, lower the risk. Don't go other way around. Don't suffer, don't sacrifice your tendons and your joints because of some silly ideas. I hope you got the message in this video and that you liked it. If you liked it, please do subscribe, and I will talk to you soon.